Long ago, when the moonlight still danced on untamed rivers and drums spoke to the stars, there was a village by the riverbank. In that village lived a girl named Achieng. She was poor, so poor that her only treasures were the old calabash she drank from and the basket she wove with her tired fingers. Her father had been taken by a long sickness, leaving behind only debts. Her mother, thin as the morning mist, could barely stand. Achieng became the pillar of the hut, caring for her two younger brothers. Every morning, before the roosters cry, she would go to the reeds, cut the palm leaves, and weave baskets until her fingers ached. Then, with a sack on her back, she would walk barefoot to the market. Far across the river, where the houses were built of stone and the streets smelled of cinnamon and salt, lived a man named Baraka. Baraka was the richest merchant in 3 kingdoms. His caravans brought salt from the north, beads from the coast, and silk from the far lands where the sun sets red. His storerooms were filled with gold, and his gates guarded by strong men. Yet Baraka's heart was empty. He ate from golden plates, but tasted nothing. Many rich fathers brought their daughters to him, each one dressed in fine linen, each one trained to speak soft words and bow with grace. But when they smiled, he saw no light. When they spoke, he heard no music. "Is there no woman," he sighed one night, "whose heart is worth more than the gold in my vaults?" One market day, Baraka disguised himself in a plain cloak and crossed the river. He wanted to walk among the common folk, to hear how they laughed, how they cried, and perhaps to find the peace that riches had denied him. At the far end of the market, where the ground turned dusty and the stalls were few, he saw Achieng. Her mat held only 6 baskets. The sun was cruel, and her lips were cracked, but her smile was warm as evening tea. A small boy approached, holding a single coin to buy a basket for his sick mother. But as he reached out, the coin slipped and rolled into the rushing river. The boy wailed, the crowd laughed, some scolded him for carelessness. Achieng knelt beside him, patted his dusty cheeks, and whispered, "Do not cry, little one. A coin may sink, but kindness always floats." She gave him one of her best baskets and sent him home. Baraka, watching from the shadows, felt a stirring in his chest. Baraka returned to that market again and again. He came as a trader, as a traveler, even as a simple buyer of baskets. He saw Achieng share her last roasted maize with a beggar. He saw her help an old woman with weak knees carry her calabash. He saw her sew a stranger's torn hem with thread from her own bundle. Never once did she boast. Never once did she ask for a reward. Baraka, to himself, "She is poor, yet she gives as though she is rich." The village began to notice the stranger who lingered near Achieng's mat. Some women whispered, "Who is that man? He buys no baskets, yet he never leaves empty-handed." Some men said, "Achieng is wasting her youth on a wanderer. Let her find a man with cows, not a man with secrets." But Achieng only smiled. "Let the wind carry their words," she said. "It does not cost a tree its leaves." One evening, when the river turned red like molten copper and the drums in the hills began to beat for the harvest moon, Baraka arrived in his true form. No more plain cloak. He came with his servants, his guards, and gifts that filled the village square: beads of coral, bolts of silk, a chest of gold, and 3 fat cows. The elders gathered. Children peeked from behind their mothers' skirts. Elder one, whispering, "Why does the great merchant darken our humble soil? Perhaps he wants our land." Elder two, pointing, No, look, he stands before the basket girl. Baraka bowed and spoke. I am Baraka, son of Juma, merchant of the great waters. I have walked many lands and seen many faces, but no face holds more beauty than the one that shares her last grain. I ask not for her dowry. I bring dowry to her. Let me marry Achieng, if she wills it. The villagers gasped. Rich daughters had danced for him, sung for him, sent gifts to his house, but none had won his heart. Yet here he was, asking for the poor girl whose only wealth was her kindness. The drums beat for 7 nights. Achieng wore not silk, but a white cotton cloth her mother had kept for blessings. The river people crossed the water with baskets on their heads, singing. The stone town people brought drums and dancers. They called it the wedding of the baskets, for every guest received a woven basket as a gift from the bride, each one carrying groundnuts, salt, and a single word written on a palm leaf. Kindness multiplies. Achieng did not become proud. In her new home of stone, she still rose with the sun. She built a school by the river where children learned to read. She gave widows a place to sell their crafts. She sent boats of grain to her old village when the rains delayed. Her baskets no longer carried fish or maize. They carried hope far beyond the river. And so the elders would tell the young, do not laugh at a poor girl's hands, for they may weave a future richer than gold. Do not measure love by the weight of coins, for true wealth is the heart that gives without counting. Baraka, the merchant of many lands, had found his greatest treasure, not in markets, not in caravans, but in a girl who gave freely when she had almost nothing. Kindness is a seed that grows even in the poorest soil. A poor girl can win a rich man's heart, not with beauty or charms, but with the wealth of her spirit. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. For more folktale stories are waiting to be told.